What's up everyone? Welcome back to another weekly raw uncut video perspectives on what's been going on in the Middle East, on the war with Iran. And today we're going to talk about what's been happening. I'll tell you also some insights from my own business. So I run a investment advisory company in Dubai, and I'll tell you what my clients are doing. Probably that would be quite interesting to you to find out. Also, I'll give you my own reflections and observations in the market. We'll start with the rentals, with the numbers. We'll crunch all the data from DLD and from DXB Interact. So I'll also pop something on the screen. It's going to be very raw and same as in the past weekly ones. I'll just basically take a look on my notes on the points that I want to cover today. But also, obviously, we've all been affected from the war, US, Iran, and all these escalations. And of course, this impacted me as well. However, I wanted to share what I've been doing in the past few weeks at the end of this video. So I'm going to reveal how I was trying to change the bad times into good times. So obviously now in Dubai and the Middle East, it's definitely not the best time. All the businesses are suffering, including mine as well. Obviously, I have some clients who are really big fishes and they are still very keen. But of course, many of the deals are on pause, so we need to be direct and transparent with this because that's the case. So anyway, I'm a global investor. I don't only invest in Dubai, so I tried to look into some other markets, and you probably saw from some of my previous videos that I've invested in Georgia. I also invested in my home country in Moldova, and I run the Airbnb that I have for now 7 years now in Bali. So yeah, I tried to basically reflect on what's happening and try to use this time wisely while everything was on pause in Dubai to make a better change, or at least a better use of my time somewhere else. So stay till the end. I'll tell you exactly what I've been up to because I think you'll find this quite interesting. But first, I want to start with analyzing the stock market. So I did tell you in the past videos that obviously when this kind of things happen, the first thing that we observe is a dip in the stock market. And in these times, we didn't just have a dip or a small correction. We had a pretty big, almost collapse level on the most of the UAE stocks. So definitely main ones like MR and Aldar, they went down by 30 to 35%. So I was telling you that I've been really observing these, and I was trying to actually view and analyze them every single day and trying to see whether I want to invest or maybe do some dollar cost average to get more into the UAE stock market. I'll be transparent, I still haven't invested anything because I think it's still quite uncertain. So while I think there is a really good sales in terms of like you can get the stocks for MR and other companies for 30% less now, I still think we're in the phase of a bit of uncertainty. So I am waiting and looking around when there would be some indications that this is going into the right direction. This is going to be over sooner than later, because obviously if you are investing for a very, very long term, now it's probably one of the best times to buy. But for me, I know that I have problems with patience, so I would like to be more certain in the next 5 to 10 years. What I mean by this is that I don't want to buy now and then I have to hold for 3-4 years until it gets back to the levels that we had prior to this. So again, I'm not sure if this will stay as is, as I'm saying it now. If tomorrow I wake up and I feel that there is some new news that will impact my vision for like the UAE development and so on, and the stock market overall, maybe we have some more insights from the leaders of the countries that are at war now, then I will get in. So I'm really, really tempted, but that's just my perspective. I think you might find it interesting. If not, just tell me in the comments below if you are buying, if you're not buying, if you're holding, or even if you're selling. So we're really interested to find out. The number two thing that I want to discuss is a bit of data from the XB Interact. So I looked at the ready unit sales and in the last 7 days, and they're down by 54%. So that's the number of transactions. So basically what is this telling us is that the sellers are keeping prices pretty solid. There are not many changes, and most distressed sellers are out of the market already. So many just hold firm now. That's why the numbers of transactions are pausing. I mean, obviously overall everything is on pause and it's going to resume quickly if all these things end, or it's not going to resume if these things continue. But nevertheless, we are in for a few weeks already. So we can see that even by discussing to different agents and to different sellers from my very own circle, I can see that everyone is actually keeping pretty solid, strong, not many discounts even. So I tried to look around as well. And I mean, I did find some deals, but that wasn't necessarily distress because of what's happening. It was more that the sellers really needed the money. So that was just the case. I'm telling you what I'm seeing in the market. On the second point is the off-plan sales in the last 7 days are also obviously down by 33%. In terms of the numbers of transactions, I am actually surprised they're not 66% or double down, because I currently think that off-plan is super overpriced, and while there are some really nice units, good units, overall I think off-plan should be definitely more impacted than the ready units. So maybe we will see some changes in the future. I'll put more videos like this every week with my perspective on this, but this is what the data shows. So how we can interpret this data is that well, basically multiple deals are still happening, but these smaller units mainly are being transacted. So 1 to 2 beds. There are not many huge apartments or villas or townhouses, at least from my observation. The most major deals that I've observed were at Paso by Beyond, where they had a few good sales around the 10 million dirham mark, but that's on Palm Jumeirah. That's super prime. I think even in the times of war and escalations like this, those areas are still keeping pretty solid. So these are very mature areas, very well desired. So that's probably why we're seeing this. But overall, most of the transactions, while they still happen, and they're quite a lot actually, which to my surprise, I didn't expect that, but most of them, they're 1 beds or 2 beds. So you can correct me again in the comments below. But anyway, if we go to another point which I wanted to discuss is mainly from my clients, so my investment advisory clients. Most of the clients that I'm working with, they are really, really huge clients who are not buying just 1, 2 bedrooms. They're buying either in bulk or entire floors, or even entire streets with villas. So these are big guys who definitely are staying ready, and they're looking at the market. They are doing the right analysis. They are investigating and really evaluating all kinds of projects in more details now, because they want to be ready whenever the price really corrects, to be the first one to act upon. So that's where I come in. I help some of my clients to really dig deep into the projects, analyze what were the sales for each kind of villas, if it's a villa community or apartments on different floors, and try to look and crunch all the data to see where will be the right spot or the right time for them to enter. And by that I mean, like, we're putting a benchmark of the number of the units or the price of the units, and we're trying to just follow through and see if we're reaching that then we will act upon. So this is one case, but basically, yeah, what I want to conclude is that serious investors are actually paying more attention than before. So that's quite interesting. Most of my regular clients are on hold, which is, yeah, absolutely understandable. However, most of my major clients and centimillionaires, they pay the most attention now, and they're really gearing up for the best deals. So not just, like I said, 1 or 2 units, maybe it's still 1 bedrooms, but multiple 1 bedrooms. So they kind of do the dollar cost average with number of apartments, not with the number of investments in stock. So a very similar thing. But yeah, the next point which I have is that big investors, to my surprise again, focus on off-plan resales right now, not ready units. So while I have both, so I have big clients who are really focused only into ready units, they really need to have a very good portfolio with cash flow units that will just generate them, you know, a very passive good return and guarantee them the early retirement. We also see that, I mean, I have some new clients actually, even during this time, that are big investors and looking at deals that are ongoing from the off-plan resales. So grabbing them from people in distress and who are unsure if they wish to continue with the payment plans, or if they just are unsure of the market overall. So basically these are new traits that I've observed from my clients, which is really interesting. And I think it actually makes quite a lot of sense, since most big investors are, you know, holding for long term and don't care much about the high yields from those investors that I'm telling you, not the ones that are looking into cash flow investments. And they can take over really quickly over the payment plans, and yeah, basically they can do it really at ease. And that's why a lot of the requests are coming to analyze and evaluate different projects, different areas, and even put up a portfolio of like a couple of units in the same tower or in the same area and just negotiate it in bulk. So anyway, if you're one of those investors, please do reach out. I'm more than happy to work with you. Obviously, we're all now affected. So I think this is a really bad time for some areas of the business, but also a very interesting opportunistic time for those who can act upon. So let's focus on the positives and hopefully try to build a super strong portfolio for those who can at this moment. But yeah, finally, the last point, which I kind of started realizing, besides the ones that are looking into cash flow units, but even those people, they're not really caring about high yields. So this is a good point, which proves that, you know, versus the other Western markets, Dubai is still the best at around 6 or 4 to 6% net yields, since most major investors, they buy to hold for capital appreciation, or they just simply diversify their investment portfolios and are having good cash flow in Dubai. And they can later use this as a proof for mortgages or refinancing. So this is a very interesting thing that I've been observing just lately in the last couple of weeks. And there are even investors from the US, from Canada and Australia who are simply looking for 4% net yields, but they just want to build their steady cash flow, steady income coming into Dubai, and just reuse it wisely afterwards. So this is what's been happening in the market. Now, I told you I'm going to reveal what I've been looking at. So while I was stuck here in my home country in Moldova, I got 4 delayed or canceled actually flights. 2 were delayed, 2 were canceled, so I had to rebook once again. Basically, I just thought that, okay, fine, if this is happening, I need to focus on the positives and try to see how I can use my investor time wisely while I'm not in Dubai, and while I'm still looking for deals in Dubai, I'm sourcing even for some clients, some opportunities, even remotely, and I'm going to see some of the units next week and when I come to Dubai. I'm still trying to figure out how to, diversify more and build a more of a global portfolio for me. It wasn't just because of what's happening in Dubai. Obviously, this also influenced everyone, but it was actually started even a couple of years before. So I have, like I told you, in Bali, some Airbnb. I always had property in Moldova, which was the first place where I started investing in property. And now, since I was here, I only have a 1 bedroom in Moldova, which kind of became very small for me. So I thought I'll use my time wisely to see if I can upgrade it. Because in the last couple of years, the market in Moldova quadrupled. So it's madness, honestly. So basically now I can use the price of this 1 bedroom as a down payment for a very, very large apartment or even villa house. And I'll still have some money left. So yeah, when I was looking at this as a perspective to basically upgrade and as an option to upgrade and maybe get a vacation home here, I obviously had a couple of criteria, which is why, funny enough, the first unit that fell under this criteria that I saw was a penthouse literally across the street from this 1 bedroom. The main requirements that I had was to be on the last floor. So I didn't want to have any noise from the neighbors above. In the building where I currently have the 1 bedroom, it's very loud and it's really loud. So even if you don't care about the sounds, you would in this case. So that was a very main criteria for me because I had it for 6 years and I think it was kind of time to move on. Especially if I want to have a family and come here with kids and have more space. I thought this probably maybe is a good time to make the switch. So I didn't sell this 1 bedroom yet. I'm going to sell it in summer. I will come back, prepare it and sell it in summer because usually I spend the summers in Europe. So that's another reason why I can get a larger unit where I have more space, maybe outdoor space as well. And in that specific penthouse that I found, and by the way, if you're really curious, let me know in the comments below and I'll make a tour of that. I literally just completed the papers and everything yesterday, actually. So I got the keys yesterday. So yeah, I'm really happy now. It was really smooth, the whole process. But yeah, this was the main criteria. So the sound, last floor. Second, I wanted to have literally the best view in my neighborhood and also I think in my city, because in this 1 bedroom, I have a very, very stunning view to the whole city, and I wanted to keep that. So if I move somewhere, I wanted to keep that for certain because you probably know, especially if you're from the East or Eastern European countries, that we have a lot of Sovietic buildings and stuff. And I wanted to have a view that will actually inspire me and not just, look at someone else's bathroom from the window and so on. I do understand that this is a privilege and a first world problem, let's say. But for me, this was very important. Because I want to keep that property for a long term. It's not a flip, it's going to be a residence here, a vacation home, and I'm going to use it a couple of months a year. And yeah, some of the other things that were important to me, interestingly, I actually wanted to have a slightly older building, so not very old, but like 4 to 5 years, which means that the people who are already there, they've done all the renovations, so I won't have any kind of drilling and weird sounds. Of course, maybe there is one property that was left unfurnished or unrepaired, so you might have this, but this is unavoidable. So overall, I wanted everyone to basically be already settled and live in there, so that so that it's quiet and I can move in straight away. And finally, I wanted it to be fully furnished into a design that I like, minimal, stylish, with basically everything included, so I don't really need to do any kind of changes. And this penthouse, it's a two-floored penthouse, 174 meters squared, much bigger than my 38 square meter one bedroom, so basically 5 times bigger. But yeah, the first floor is a 3 bedroom, and then the second floor is a large terrace with a installed indoor box for another 30 meters squared with their own AC and table. Maybe I'll make some gym there, maybe a wine bar and a grilling space as well outdoors. And then there is also the outdoor space with the shower, another toilet, and sun chairs, sun beds basically. So really big space, amazing view. And if you are curious, let me know in the comments. I'll maybe make walk-in video. I don't really do this on the channel, but maybe I'll do one because this unit is really something special. So basically that was the reveal. That was what I was trying to do in these times where it was kind of everything on hold, and we run a business, so we really need to make money. We can't just stop, you know. I mean, there are many comments and so on that you can't, you know, think about opportunistic times and so on in this kind of times. I get that, but you know, I also pay salaries, I have people employed, and if we're not going to use this times wisely and find the positives even from the negatives, especially in this kind of business of investment advisory and property investing and the management for Airbnbs, yeah, we're also gonna get burnt. And yeah, we need to make some pivots. I'm already working on many other new opportunities, really exciting in the future. So hopefully still everything is gonna go back to normal. I hope you are safe wherever you are. And if you want to know my opinions on something else, maybe something that I didn't touch upon, please drop your comments below. I am more than happy to read all of them and reply and tell you my perspective. But until then, stay safe. I'll see you in the next one.